They say Omegas are afraid of speed. I'm the only one who floors it so death doesn't have time to catch up. The engine roars under me like it wants to tear the night open. Wet asphalt flashes in the headlights. Black glass, smeared neon. A reflection of a city that never learned what enough means. Wind claws at my jacket, whistles past my helmet, and the world narrows down to three things. The bike, the road, and the delicious, reckless certainty that if I miscalculate by a second, I'm dead. Honestly, kind of comforting. I lean into the curve, almost brushing the guardrail. Somewhere behind me, a bike skids, someone swears, tires scream. The underground racing chat will say I'm a demon again tomorrow. Wrong species guys, but thanks for the compliment. The HUD on my visor pings red, distance marker. The finish line is a few blocks away, down the long artery of highway that cuts through downtown like a scar. Tall glass buildings rise on either side, lit up in ice blue and corporate white, watching like bored gods. Come on baby, I murmur to the bike, rolling the throttle. Let's make them work for it. The engine answers with a snarl, and we shoot forward. Streetlights blur into pale streaks. The tunnel ahead opens its mouth, ringed with rows of white lights that flicker past like we're slipping through another timeline. I love tunnels. The sound changes inside, louder, closer, like the bike is screaming straight into my skull. My chest vibrates. My blood thrums. My suppressor collar hums faintly against my throat, cool metal tight. On my skin, the little green indicator light a mocking dot in the dark. Most Omegas wear their collars because they're scared. I wear mine so no one gets stupid ideas. A warning tone cuts through the engine noise. Different pitch, different color. Police. In the left corner of my visor, a new symbol flashes. Patrol drones detected. I catch the first one in my peripheral vision, black, sleek, with rotating blue scanners. Then another, then the sharp familiar wail of sirens as real cars join the party above ground. Oh, you've gotta be kidding me. I laugh, breathless. They sent the dog squad? The earpiece in my helmet crackles, the race group channel exploding. Silas, bail, man. Someone yells. The wolves are out. Another voice panics. Cops got a wear unit on the move. I'm out. Of course they sent the wear unit. Illegal night races plus at least 3 registered shifters among the crowd? Paperwork writes itself. A drone swoops lower, spotlight washing over me in blinding white. I flip at the finger just because. My pulse jumps, not from fear, but the thrill of being hunted. Come on then, I mutter. Catch me. I gun it. The bike rockets forward, throwing me back in the seat. I adjust, body automatically shifting with the machine. The tunnel spits me out onto an elevated stretch of highway, slick and shining after the rain. Sirens deepen behind me as heavier engines join in. Specialized engines. High torque. Reinforced. Meant to chase down creatures that can run on 4 legs at 80 miles an hour. Hoo boy, I whistle. They brought the expensive toys. I'm flattered. One of the cop cars pulls into my lane a few hundred meters back. Blue and red lights flare, insisting, demanding. My instincts twitch at the alpha-level pressure in the air, the distant push of shifting auras from the WER officers. If my collar wasn't on, my body would be screaming I'm prey. But the suppressor sits snug and stubborn against my throat. The world stays sharp and clear. No scent spikes, no overwhelming alpha command. Just my heart pounding, my brain buzzing, and a thin thread of rage I always carry with me, simmering under my ribs. You want me? I grin inside the helmet. Work for it. I cut across 3 lanes, slipping between a truck and a taxi so tight I feel my knee brush metal. Horns blare. Someone screams an insult I don't quite catch. A drone tries to cut me off from above. I duck under an overpass and hear the sharp crunch of composite as it clips concrete. The race channel in my ear goes quiet one by one as others peel off to side streets, ramp exits, alleys. Cowards. Or smart. Depends on who you ask. Tonight I'm not interested in smart. My HUD flashes an upcoming junction. Take the right exit, I can vanish into the warehouse district. Lose them like smoke. I know this city's veins, better than I know my own. I aim for it. Then I see it. A black SUV, no markings, sitting dead center at the mouth of the exit ramp. No lights flashing, no engine revved. Just parked there like it has all the time in the world. The highway lamps cast pale halos over its polished surface. Every hair on my body stands up. You know that feeling when you're prey, and a real predator walks into the room? Yeah, I don't get that often anymore. But I get it now. Who the hell? I breathe. I flick the bike slightly left, planning to swerve around, maybe jump the curb. The SUV's headlights blink on, pure white, blinding. For a second, all I see is myself reflected in the glass. Black helmet, lean frame, collar gleaming at my throat like a dare. Then, the SUV moves. Not fast, not dramatic. Just precise. One smooth turn of the wheel, and it glides forward, blocking the lane, calculating my speed with cruel accuracy. If I keep going, I'll slam right into it. Shit. I clamp the brakes, the back tire fishtailing for a heart-stopping second. The bike screams, rubber burning against wet asphalt. My pulse spikes, the city stutters around me. I wrestle the bike straight, come to a stop sideways, chest heaving. Sirens close in behind me. Drones hover overhead, their lights pinning us in a white-blue cage. The SUV door opens. He steps out like he's walking into a meeting, not into chaos. Tall, broad shoulders under a dark coat. Short black hair, a few strands dampened by the mist. His presence hits like a wall. Not a scent, not a pheromonal crush, thanks to the suppressor, but something heavier. A gravity that makes everyone else around him feel smaller. I've seen him before. On news segments, in leaked internal memos, on security posters titled in big red letters, Division Head, Shifter Crimes Unit. Victor Hale, the top dog of the dog squad. Up close, his eyes are worse than on screen. Gray, cold, assessing. The kind of eyes that don't get surprised often. They're on me now. I lift my visor slowly, letting the night air slap me in the face. My silver eyes meet his guarded gray ones, and for a heartbeat, the world goes very, very quiet. No sirens, no drones. Just that spark. Electricity without scent. Instinct without the usual hormonal haze. Like my body is remembering something my brain doesn't want to name. His gaze flicks to my collar, lingering a fraction too long. Of course he notices. Mr. Hale, right? I say, forcing a lazy grin. My voice feels too loud in the charged silence. Big fan of your work. Love how you crash all my favorite parties. One of the uniformed officers behind him shifts awkwardly. Victor doesn't. He just looks at me, unreadable, like he's cataloging every breath I take. Then, calmly, in a voice that could cut through steel, he says, "Remove the helmet." I arch a brow. Wow, no please. I want to see the face, he continues, as if I hadn't spoken, of the Omega who laughs at my unit and runs through my city like it's his personal racetrack. Omega. The word lands with a dull thud. Not panicked, not shamed, just irritating. I force my fingers to move. Pop the latch. Pull the helmet free. Cool air hits my sweat-damp hair, makes the ash-colored strands cling to my forehead. I shake them back, silver eyes locked on his. Give him the full effect. Sharp cheekbones, cocky tilt of the mouth, the glint of metal at my throat. Happy now? I ask. Something flickers in his expression. Not attraction, not exactly suspicion. Recognition. For a second his gaze dips to the hollow of my neck, where my collar sits, and lower, to the skin just beneath. Then, it's gone. Silas Cade, he says, my name rolling off his tongue like a verdict. You're under arrest for illegal racing, reckless endangerment, and resisting pursuit. A gloved hand presses on my shoulder from behind. Another officer grips my wrist. The usual choreography, but it's not their touch that makes my skin flare hot. It's when Victor steps closer, reaches out, and puts his palm flat against the back of my neck, right under the edge of the helmet strap, guiding my head down. The contact is clinical, dominant, controlled. It feels like being struck by lightning. My breath stutters. There's a pulse under my skin where his fingers rest. A burn that shoots down my spine and coils low in my gut. Not arousal, not fear. Something older, deeper, like an echo waking up. For a split second, I see something else, a forest, snow, blood, a hand, his hand, reaching out, and a voice calling my name in a language I don't know. Then it's gone. I blink, and I'm back on the wet asphalt, my knees hitting the ground as they push me down. Metal cuffs snap shut around my wrists. Victor's hand lingers on my neck half a second too long. He must feel it too, that strange wrongness, because his fingers stiffen. His jaw tightens. Our eyes meet again from my awkward angle. And God help me, I smile. Careful, officer, I murmur. Hold me like that any longer, and someone might think you like me. A muscle jumps in his cheek. It's almost entertaining, watching a man that controlled recalculate. Get him in the car, he says finally, as if nothing happened. His voice is steady. Only his eyes betray the storm. But as they haul me to my feet, as the drones hum and the sirens scream, that phantom burn where his hand touched my skin keeps throbbing. Like something under my flesh has just woken up, stretched, and recognized him. The Shifter Crimes Unit looks exactly like the kind of place where hope goes to suffocate quietly in a corner. Glass walls, polished floors, and a silence so sharp it feels like you're trespassing just by breathing. Everything smells like disinfectant and cold authority. Even the air seems to stand straighter when Victor Hale walks through it. They march me into his office, if you can call this transparent box an office. One whole wall is a secure display of scent samples locked behind reinforced glass. Another holds shelves stacked with dossiers, discreetly labeled with case numbers I probably don't want to know the stories behind. The desk is massive, too neat, almost aggressively organized. And Victor stands behind it like a statue carved out of pragmatism and bad decisions. They sit me in a chair that's just uncomfortable enough to feel intentional. Victor closes the door behind us. The glass fogs at the edges, tint shifting to privacy mode. We're alone. Great. He studies me for a moment, hands in his pockets, shoulders loose, stance deceptively relaxed, like a wolf trying to look like a house pet. His gray eyes track every move I make, every breath, every heartbeat. Let's start simple, he says finally, taking the seat across from me. His voice is calm, steady, annoyingly controlled. Why do you wear a suppressor? I lean back and cross my arms, keeping my expression bored. So people like you don't get ideas. His brows lift a millimeter. Impressive, considering his face looks carved to avoid emotion. Ideas? You know. I gesture lazily to my neck. Inhale, growl, claim, bite. Whatever it is alphas fantasize about when they smell an omega. The collar saves me the trouble of rejecting them. A beat of silence. Then, softly. Not amused, not angry, just measuring. You think highly of my imagination? Oh, trust me, I smirk. I think absolutely nothing of it. For a second, the corner of his mouth almost twitches. Almost. Then it's gone. Replaced by that same unreadable cool. He slides a thin folder toward himself, flipping it open. My file. Name, age, biometrics. A lovely collection of crimes, near crimes, and crimes I definitely committed but never got caught for. He scans it, then looks up again. You don't respond to scent triggers, he notes. No fear uptick, no submissive markers. Even your pulse stays steady. I work out, I say dryly. No, he says, leaning back slightly. You're something else. A quieter tension curls in the room. Subtle, but unmistakable. I feel it in my spine, in the warm prickle at the back of my neck. Right where his hand had been earlier. I look away before I accidentally give him anything real. Victor doesn't miss the flicker. Of course he doesn't. He's the kind of man who notices dust deciding where to fall. His gaze sharpens, tracks lower, stops at my collarbone. Oh great. The birthmark. A small irregular mark just under my left clavicle. Dark, sharp-edged, too clean in shape to look like anything accidental. I've had it as long as I remember. And I've never liked the way some people stared at it. Victor stares at it now with the focus of someone activating an old memory. What is that? He asks quietly. I shrug. An ugly spot. It's not a spot, he murmurs, and something shifts in his voice. Too soft, too knowing. It's a sigil. A cold ripple moves down my arms. I snap my gaze back to him. Are you done analyzing my skin, or should I take my shirt off for a full exam? He ignores the jab. Closes the file. And then leans forward, elbows on the desk, eyes hooking into mine with deliberate precision. You're dangerous, Silas, rare. And I don't know if releasing you back into the city is a risk I'm willing to take. My heart lurches, but my face stays blank. Because if there's one thing I'm good at, it's pretending. So what now? I ask, tone light. Solitary confinement, shock collar, weekly scolding appointments? Victor stands. Slowly. The air tightens. From this moment forward, he says, voice low but absolute. You're under my personal supervision. I blink. Is that legal? Yes. Is it ethical? No. He doesn't smile. But there's a glint in his eyes that wasn't there before. A decision. A claim, not the biological kind, but something worse, responsibility. And when he walks past me to open the door, he pauses, just for a fraction of a breath, close enough that I feel the warmth of him against my cheek. Then, try not to run. It won't go well for either of us. Fantastic. I've just become the pet project of the most dangerous alpha in the city. What could possibly go wrong? The observation room sounds much worse than it actually is. Sure, there are cameras tucked into every corner and reinforced panels lining the walls, but the lighting is soft, the couch is criminally comfortable, and the whole place has that faintly sweet scent of industrial-grade fabric softener. Honestly, if this is supposed to intimidate me, they should take notes from actual criminals, or my landlord. Victor drops me off with the expression of a man placing a bomb on a table and hoping no one jostles it. "This is temporary," he says. "You'll stay here for evaluation." I flop dramatically onto the couch. Love the hospitality. He ignores me, sets a tablet on the wall mount, and starts tapping through the testing protocols. His shoulders look tense. His jaw even tenser. I take that as a personal victory. The moment he leaves, I make myself at home. And by home I mean, annoy absolutely everyone with a badge. Within 15 minutes I've accomplished the following. Stolen a protein bar labeled Officer Ramirez, too chalky, would not recommend. Flirted with the guard outside my door until he turned crimson and pretended to suddenly remember an urgent hallway to stare at. Discovered the camera in the top right corner has a blind spot if I sit sideways on the couch and lean back exactly 3 inches. A fun fact I loudly announced to the entire hallway. It's not that I try to be a menace. I just am. The WER unit staff handle it with various levels of patience and despair. I hear them whispering outside more than once. Is he always like this? Apparently. He ate my almonds. He smiled at me and now I feel like I need to file paperwork. Ramirez, quit whining. At least he's not biting anyone. Yet. Around hour 3, Victor returns, looking like he prepared himself for disappointment and still managed to be disappointed. He wheels in a cart of testing materials, sealed scent samples, audio triggers, hormonal diffusers. Not cheap stuff. "All right," he says, scanning a bracelet over the door lock. "We're doing a standard Omega response panel." "Fun," I reply, chewing the stolen protein bar. "Will there be a prize if I win?" "It's not a competition." That's what people say when they know they'll lose. For a split second, I swear I see the ghost of an eye roll flicker behind his stoic mask. Just a flicker. Then his face resets into a motionless government-issued alpha. He starts the tests. Scent stimulus first, dominance projection. Nothing. Second, mild intimidation trigger. My pulse doesn't even twitch. 7th, soothing omega pheromone simulation. I yawn. Victor adjusts the equipment, checks my vitals, frowns like the universe personally insulted him. "Your readings are inconsistent," he mutters. "Inconsistent with what?" I ask sweetly. "Your expectations?" He ignores the jab and runs 2 more tests. Still nothing. From the hallway someone whispers, awestruck. "He's like a glitch. A system error. A blue screen of doom." I wave through the glass. 3 officers immediately pretend to check their shoelaces. Victor finally ends the session. He doesn't say he's frustrated. He doesn't have to. The air around him feels tighter, like he's fighting the urge to crack his knuckles or throw the test kit at the wall. He gives a curt nod and leaves without a word. The room goes quiet again. I stretch out on the couch, hands behind my head, watching the ceiling camera blink red. "Glitch," I murmur. I like that. But later, much later, long after the hallway lights dim and the building settles into its midnight silence, something wakes me. Or someone. A sound I can't name. A feeling without shape. Something warm and cold and old brushing against my ribs. Somewhere across the building, Victor Hale is dreaming. Of a burning forest. Of a circle of ash-colored wolves. Of a small one, barely shifting age, staring at him with silver eyes full of terror and something like recognition. Eyes that look exactly like mine. Later, when all of this was over and I could finally breathe without checking over my shoulder, Victor would tell me about the dreams. Back then, I only felt the echo of them. He said it always started the same way, a swollen, too bright moon hanging over a forest of dark pines, snow glowing blue under its light. Then blood. Sharp, obscene red slashed across all that white. A pack of ash-colored wolves lying still. And in the center, a small one with silver eyes, staring at him like it knew him. Like I knew him. But I didn't know any of that yet. I just knew that sleep stopped being peaceful. That night in the observation room, I drifted off on the too soft couch, the hum of the building lulling me under. At some point I must have started dreaming, because when I wake up, I'm standing in a forest I've never seen before. Snow under my boots. Cold air knifing my lungs. The moon too big, too close. My heart stutters. I look down. For a second my hands blur, fingers lengthening, bones shifting, and I see paws instead of skin. I blink, and it's gone. Just hands. Just me. But my chest is tight and my throat tastes like metal. Somewhere far away, something howls, a sound that makes every nerve in my body want to run toward it and run away from it at the same time. Silas. I spin around at the sound of my name, but there's no one there. Only trees. Only shadows. Only a vague imprint of someone walking toward me. Tall, gray-eyed, familiar. I jerk fully awake, gasping. The observation room is dark, lit only by the faint standby glow from a monitor. The couch is under me. The blankets twisted around my legs. No snow. No forest. Just my own heartbeat thrashing in my ears. And heat. A strange steady warmth sits low in my chest, like someone cupped a hand around my heart and refused to let go. It pulses once, twice, in time with my breathing. What the hell? I press a palm against my sternum. The sensation doesn't fade. I get up and start pacing, barefoot on cold tile. The room suddenly feels too small, too quiet. My skin buzzes under the suppressor collar. I tug at it, annoyed. When the door unlocks, the warmth spikes hard enough to make me gasp. Victor steps in. His hair is slightly mussed, like he didn't sleep long or slept badly. His eyes look sharper, shadows carved deeper under them. If I didn't know better, I'd say he'd woken from a nightmare. He pauses when he sees me on my feet. "You're awake early," he says. "Could say the same about you," I shoot back automatically, but my voice comes out thinner than I want. He moves past me to check the overnight logs on the wall tablet. As he scrolls, I drift closer without meaning to, drawn by that now familiar pull in my chest. My fingers brush his hand when I reach for the edge of the tablet. The world explodes. Not literally. But a bright white-hot burn shoots up my arm, like every nerve lit up at once. I yank my hand back with a hiss. Shit! The skin where we touched is flushed, tingling, like I pressed it against a live wire. I round on him. "What did you do to me?" He looks at his own hand like it betrayed him. Something unreadable flashes across his face. Guilt, shock, recognition. All tangled together. "Nothing," he says quietly. "Not yet." The warmth in my chest twists, answering to something I don't have a name for. And for the first time I realize whatever's happening between us isn't just in my head. The thing about being held under personal supervision by the head of the Shifter Crimes unit is that sooner or later, you get curious about how good he is at his job. So naturally, I decide to test that. At 2 a.m, by breaking out of a fortified government building. Minor details. The unit is quiet at night. Low lights, humming vents, the occasional shuffle of an officer trying to stay awake at their desk. My observation room has 2 cameras, 1 motion sensor, and 1 board guard scrolling on his phone. I start with the cameras. A careful adjustment of the couch cushions, tilted just right, creates the perfect blind spot. I discovered it by accident while trying to balance a stolen granola bar on my nose. Don't judge me. Next, I slide off the suppressor collar just far enough to make it flicker, not enough to activate failsafes, but enough to scramble the biometric reader. The motion sensor blinks yellow. I grin. Showtime. I slip to the side panel where a maintenance vent runs behind the wall. Earlier today, some genius left a mop bucket propping the door open. I remembered. I tug the vent panel open, squeeze through, and crawl 2 meters to where the wall insulation ends in a maintenance shelf. From there, it's a quick climb, a quiet hop, and I'm in a storage subroom that leads straight to the emergency exit. The alarm should trigger. It doesn't. Because I already rewired it with a hairpin I stole from Officer Ramirez. Again, don't judge me. I push the door open, slip into the stairwell, and start climbing. My lungs burn. My muscles scream, but adrenaline is a wonderful painkiller. When I burst onto the rooftop, the night air slaps me in the face like freedom itself. The city stretches out below, skyscrapers, billboards, neon veins pulsing across the dark. Cold wind tangles through my ash-colored hair. And there it is, the fire escape ladder, my escape route. I swing myself over the ledge and start down. My boots clang lightly against the metal rungs. 5 stories. 4. 3. A drone swoops around the corner, scanning wildly. I freeze. It beeps, then crashes straight into the wall like a drunk seagull. I bite back a laugh. Smooth. I hit the alley pavement, roll to absorb the drop, and bolt. My breath fogs in front of me. Sirens in the distance. The cold rush of victory in my veins. I'm almost out. One right turn and I'll hit the old warehouse district, easy to disappear. I sprint around the corner and skid to a stop. Because someone is already standing there, blocking the entire narrow alley as if he materialized out of the darkness. Victor. Coat unbuttoned, hands in pockets, gaze steady and infuriatingly calm. The neon from a distant sign paints the edges of his shoulders in a cold red glow. My heart doesn't just drop. It plummets. How? I breathe. Did you get ahead of me? I predicted your most efficient route, he says simply. You favor open lines and high vantage points. It wasn't difficult. I throw my hands up. Fantastic. I try to be a criminal mastermind, and you turn it into a math problem. His eyes flick over me. Sweat-damp hair, scraped knuckles, collar hanging askew. You could have been hurt. Ah, concerned for my safety. How sweet. Concerned, he repeats slowly, is not the word I'd use. He steps closer. My body doesn't react like an omega should. No tremble, no instinctive submission. Just heat. A coil of something too sharp to ignore. You can lock me in a room, I say, backing up until my shoulders hit the brick wall, but you can't cage my will. Victor's face stays perfectly neutral. Except for his eyes. They spark with something quiet and startling. Your will, he says softly, is exactly what interests me. The alley shrinks around us. Something resonates, low, almost inaudible. A pull deep in my chest, the same strange warmth from before, tightening like a thread between us. I swallow. He stands inches away now, looking down at me with that unreadable storm behind his gaze. You planned this, he murmurs. Calculated it, executed it almost flawlessly. Almost? I scoff. You cornered me like a stray cat. Victor leans in just enough for his breath to brush my cheek. You're not a stray anything, and damn him. My heart responds before my brain does. The resonance snaps, sparks, burns. I hate it. I crave it. Come, he says finally, stepping back but not breaking eye contact. Let's go inside. I don't move. Not because I'm afraid, but because, for the first time, I'm not sure who exactly is chasing whom anymore. I didn't know where Victor went after the warehouse attack. He didn't tell anyone. Didn't look at me. Just walked out of the medbay with that stiff, haunted posture that said he wasn't going to sleep. He was going to think. Later, I'd learn exactly where he went. Later, I'd wish I hadn't asked. But that night, while I sat alone on a cold hospital cot with dried blood, under my fingernails, Victor descended into the police archives. He told me the room felt like a graveyard, long before he opened a single drawer. Rows of steel cabinets, dusty. Shelves, old fluorescent lights flickering like they were too tired to judge the sins stored beneath them. Papers yellowed with age, the quiet hum of ventilation, the weight of old decisions pressing down from every corner. He didn't wander. He went straight to a drawer marked with a faded label and a red tag. Unresolved, level 5. He found the file he'd been trying not to think about ever since he saw the mark on my collarbone. Operation Frostfang. Termination order. Dated 20 years ago. He spread everything across a metal table and told me later the room suddenly felt colder. Like the ghosts of those files didn't appreciate being disturbed. I wasn't there, but I can picture it. The way he would have organized the pages. In neat rows. Flattening out the corners, refusing to let his hands shake. The old Victor. The one who believed in clean lines and clean decisions. Photos. Tactical logs. Identification forms. And then the group picture. The ash pack. 7 adults, hard eyes, rough faces, the same sharp sigil burned into their skin. The sigil that's been sitting under my skin all my life, disguised as a birthmark. But I'd know which photo stopped him. Not the adults. The small shape at the bottom, a child. Barely shifting age. Ash-colored hair sticking in wild directions. Silver eyes too bright for an old camera. And the mark, my mark, burned into his left collarbone. Me. He didn't say he recognized me immediately. He just went silent. Completely silent. He turned the page anyway, because that's what Victor does. and found the mission summary. The pack had been declared hostile. Terminated. Bodies accounted for. Except for the very last line of the report. One body unrecovered. Presumed dead. He said his ears were ringing when he read it. Said it felt like the room tilted. I don't know what I was doing at that exact moment. Sitting alone, staring at my hands, trying to understand why claws had ripped through my dreams. But I felt something twist under my ribs, sharp and wrong. Like a memory I didn't have was rattling its chains. Victor closed the folder with too much force. Dust jumped. 20 years believing the job was done. 20 years believing the ash pack died to the last member. And then I walked into his unit wearing their sigil. Not a coincidence. A mistake in the record. A survivor. Me. And the worst part? The part neither of us said out loud? Somehow, deep down? I think he already knew. Evening settles over the shifter crimes unit like a tired sigh. Most of the officers have gone home, leaving behind dim lamps, humming computers. And the faint smell of burnt coffee wafting from the break room. The usually sharp, metallic atmosphere softens under the evening lights. Shadows stretch long across the floors. And Victor Hale, terrifying head of the unit, is leaning against a desk with his arms crossed. Looking almost human. He's been different since the escape. Not warm, not friendly. Just less frozen. Which naturally means I must test the boundaries of this new, softer version. Careful, I say, as I stroll past him, hands tucked into the pockets of my borrowed hoodie. Your face almost moved. Was that an expression? Should I call medical? Victor glances at me. Silas. Ah, yes, that tone. I grin. The one where you don't know whether to reprimand me or buy me a drink. He blinks once, deliberately slow. I have never once considered buying you a drink. Yet, I correct, stepping backward so I'm walking in front of him, facing him, my grin widening. It's okay. Denial is a stage of grief. His lips twitch, a microscopic movement. But it's there. I freeze. Then gasp dramatically. Oh my God. Did Victor Hale actually attempt to smile? He exhales through his nose, which for him is the equivalent of a laugh. You're insufferable. Thank you. I try. A couple of late shift officers pass by and nearly trip over their own feet. Did he just... Was that smiling? No way. Impossible. Someone check the CCTV. Victor ignores them. And then, to my shock, he says, "Come with me." I raise a brow. If this is another test, I'm charging overtime. It's not a test. We leave the building and walk half a block to a small cafe tucked under a row of apartments. Warm wooden panels, mismatched chairs, soft yellow lights, completely opposite of Victor's aesthetic. The barista waves at him. Usual? Victor hesitates a fraction of a second before nodding. He has a usual. At a cozy cafe. My world tilts. We take a booth in the corner. I sink into the plush chair, stretching like a cat. Victor sits like a soldier, upright, precise, hands folded. So, I say, picking up the menu, is this our first date, or our sixth? Hard to track milestones when you keep arresting me? It's not a date. I mean, it's okay if you want to call it something else. Subjugation dinner? Captive-captor bonding moment? I tap the table lightly. Or maybe it's just because you feel guilty. His eyes flick up sharply. Guilty? For snapping at me earlier. For touching me and making my arm feel like it exploded. For whatever's happening to you that you refuse to talk about. The last one lands. He doesn't answer. Instead, he says quietly, "You're different today." I know, I reply lightly. I escaped a government facility. I'm still high on adrenaline. That's not what I meant. His gaze lingers, not with suspicion but curiosity, something uneasy. Something that makes my stomach flip. The food arrives before I can pry. We eat. He takes his coffee black, no sugar. I order the sweetest chai on the menu purely to irritate him. It works. The conversation stays light, mostly me teasing him, mostly him resisting poorly. It's not romantic, not intimate, but it's comfortable. And that is significantly more dangerous. Later that night, back in the observation room, I crash onto the couch feeling oddly warm, like something inside me loosened. Sleep comes fast. And then the dream hits. At first it feels like I'm running. My limbs stretch, muscles coil with power. The world smells too vivid. Earth, rain, moonlight. My heartbeat isn't mine. It's deeper, wilder. I look down. Not hands. Paws. Ash-gray fur covers my limbs. My breath comes out in white puffs. Something pulls me forward, a howl lodged behind my teeth, begging to escape. I slash at the ground, claws carving deep marks into the snow. Except it's not snow. It's my blanket. I wake violently, gasping, heart thundering. The room is dark. Quiet. My hands sting. I look down. 4 long red gashes streak across the sheets, fabric torn, foam exposed. And on my palms. Faint curled marks. Claw-shaped. A cold shiver races up my spine. No, I whisper to myself. No, no, no. But the truth stares back at me from the shredded fabric. Whatever is happening to me, it's not just dreams anymore. Victor's office looks different at night. Not physically, everything is still immaculate, rigid and aggressively organized. But there's something in the air. The light from the single desk lamp throws long shadows across the floor, turning the glass walls into dark mirrors. The hallway beyond is silent. It feels like a confession box. Which is ironic, considering I'm the one bursting in. I don't knock. I shove the door open and walk straight inside, slamming it shut behind me. Victor looks up from a set of documents, his expression taut, controlled, until he sees my hands. The cuts. The ones I woke up with. His eyes sharpen instantly. Silas. No, I snap. No calm voice, no slow breath. You're going to talk to me. He stands slowly, the lamp outlining the edges of him in gold. What happened? You tell me. I hold my hands up, palms still raw. Claws in my sleep? Flashbacks of running on 4 legs? Hearing things calling me? What's next, Victor? Do I wake up howling at the moon? His jaw tightens. And that's the problem. He knows something. He's known for a while. So that's it? I step closer. You're judging me by a past I don't remember? Victor draws a quiet breath, steadying himself. I'm not judging you. Then what are you doing? My voice cracks with anger, fear, something else I don't want to name. Watching? Installing more cameras? Waiting for me to grow fangs so you can put me down like some rogue animal? For the first time since I met him, Victor's composure fractures. Not much, but enough. His eyes flash with something raw. Stop, he says, voice low but shaking at the edges. I'm trying to understand what links us. The words hang between us. Heavy. Dangerous. I blink. Links us. He hesitates. It's tiny, less than a breath. But I see it. Victor Hale, the man who commands shifters like they're an extension of his will, is afraid of telling me something. I take another step closer. Say it. Silence. Then, I was part of the operation that destroyed your pack. Everything in me goes still. The air turns icy. The lamp hums. My heartbeat stops, then slams back into motion, too fast, too violent. My pack? I echo. The word foreign in my mouth. I didn't have a pack. He doesn't move. Doesn't look away. You did? I don't remember any pack. I spit. I know. And you, what, slaughtered them? My voice cracks into a snarl. And now you're babysitting the last survivor, like some kind of penance? Victor flinches. Actually flinches. That's not, Silas, listen. No. My hands shake. My chest burns. You killed them. You killed my, whatever they were, and then what? Saw a pretty little omega with silver eyes and thought, oh how symbolic. Let me keep him under observation. That is not what happened, he says sharply, stepping toward me. Then what happened? His composure finally breaks. The storm behind his eyes erupts. You happened, he snarls. You walked into my city, into my unit, into every damn thought I've had for the last 3 days, and I can't explain why. I can't categorize you. I can't control you. And I can't. He cuts himself off. The silence after that is suffocating. I swallow hard, my fury clashing with a different emotion entirely. Something hot, unsettled, coiling low in my ribs. Connection, recognition, fear. Victor. I whisper, barely breathing. He looks at me, not as an officer, not as an alpha, but as a man standing at the edge of a cliff he swore he'd never approach again. Something in my chest pulls toward him. And I hate it. And I need it. You should hate me, he says quietly. Maybe I should. But God help me, I don't. I take one step closer. and the resonance between us sings like a live wire under my skin. Whatever binds us, it's not done tightening. The night air near the docks always smells like rust, ocean salt, and old secrets. I shouldn't be here, not alone, not after everything Victor dumped on me, but my skin feels too tight, my thoughts too loud, and the walls of the unit feel like they're closing in. So, I skip out for a walk, and end up wandering farther than intended. Bad decision. Truly spectacularly bad. The abandoned warehouse looms beside the water, half swallowed by shadows, its corrugated metal sides groaning in the wind. Broken glass crunches under my boots as I pass by. Something prickles at the back of my neck. A warning. Too late. A shape drops from above, silent, fast, and slams me into the concrete. Pain punches through my ribs. "Hello, little heir," a voice hisses in my ear, breath hot and feral. "Finally found you." My blood freezes. Before I can react, two more figures materialize from the darkness. There, silhouettes shifting at the edges, wolves barely holding human form. Their eyes gleam with fanatic hunger. "We thought the last ash blood died," one says. Imagine our surprise when the old mark resurfaces. My mind scrambles. "I don't know you. I don't know anything about a mark, a pack, any of it." They laugh. Sharp, jagged. "You don't have to know," the first one says, pressing me harder into the floor. "You only need to be alive, a symbol, a tool." A cold wave of rage snaps through me. "I'm nobody's tool." He smiles with pointed teeth. "Oh, but you are. With you, our pack rises again." His hand presses over my collarbone, over that damn mark, and a white-hot shock ripples under my skin. Something ancient inside me snarls. Loud. I don't think. I move. My body twists with strength I didn't know I had. I wrench an arm free, slam my elbow into his throat, and roll. Adrenaline surges, but it's more than adrenaline. Something wild and sharp bursting awake inside my bones. One wolf lunges. I catch him mid-air, and throw him into a stack of metal drums like he weighs nothing. The crash echoes through the entire warehouse. What is he?" Another whispers. "I don't know. I don't care." A snarl tears from my own throat, raw, animalistic. My fingernails burn, lengthening just enough to rake across the third wolf's arm, leaving deep red gashes. His scream is high and warped. They weren't expecting this. Hell, I wasn't expecting this. But they regroup quickly, circling. "Hold him." The leader growls. "We need him intact." The first wolf grabs me from behind, arms like steel bands. I slam my head backward, connecting with his nose. He howls, grip loosening. Then, a sound. A voice like thunder cracking open the walls. "Silas. Victor." He bursts through the broken doorway with all the grace of a storm incarnate, coat flaring, eyes glowing with alpha fury. He moves too fast for a human barely contained power rippling under his skin. The wolves freeze. "Back away," Victor orders, voice low, lethal. They don't. The leader shoves me forward, claws digging into my shoulders. "We take the air, or we die trying." Victor's control snaps. He attacks. The fight is brutal, feral, nothing like the clean efficiency he shows at work. Two wolves go down hard under his fists. The leader slashes across Victor's side, blood pooling instantly. "Victor!" I shout. Horror slicing through me. He staggers, but doesn't fall. I don't think. I launch myself forward, adrenaline spiking into something explosive. My body moves on instinct, ancient instinct. I tackle the leader, teeth bared, and slam him into the ground. He claws at me, but I don't let go until Victor pulls me back. The leader scrambles away, limping, snarling. "We'll return for him." "For the heir." Then they vanish into the night. The warehouse goes silent except for the echo of my ragged breaths. Victor sinks to one knee, hand pressed to the bleeding wound at his side. I catch him before he hits the floor fully, my heart hammering, panic rising like a tidal wave. For the first time since I met him, I'm truly afraid. "Don't," I whisper, gripping him too tightly. "Don't you dare pass out on me." He looks up, vision unfocused, but voice steady. "I wasn't going to," but the blood on my hands says otherwise. The medical bay is too quiet. Machines hum softly in the corners, sterile lights buzz overhead, and the antiseptic smell burns in the back of my throat. Victor lies on one of the beds, shirt cut open at the side where the bandages wrap around him. The wound isn't fatal, but it's deep, far deeper than I want to admit. He watches me with those steady gray eyes, even though his face is pale from blood loss. You should be resting, I mutter, pacing. Or unconscious. Preferably unconscious. I don't make a habit of passing out, he says dryly. I stop pacing and glare at him. You almost did. A beat. No denial. My chest tightens. I hate it. Hate how much that sight, him bleeding because of me, shook something loose inside me. I turn away before he can see my expression. My fingers go to the metal collar at my throat. The suppressor, my safety net, my shield, my excuse. I rip it off. The sound is small, just a click, but the world changes instantly. Heat rushes through me like a wildfire. Instincts surge, sharp and overwhelming. My pulse thunders. The faint sterile scent of the med bay disappears under a wave of something else. Something primal that tells me Victor is near, injured, and mine to protect. I stumble back, gripping the edge of the counter. Silas. His voice is suddenly low, warning. Put it back on. No, I breathe. I'm done pretending I don't feel anything. He starts to sit up, grimacing, and I step closer without thinking, drawn to him like gravity. My skin buzzes. Every nerve screams. Instinct digs claws into my spine. You want control? My voice shakes, but not from fear. Take it. His jaw locks. Silas. Go on. I lean forward, heart hammering. You want a mark on me? A claim? Do it. Bite me. Make me yours. His eyes flash, pupils sharp. He feels it too. The pull, the bond, whatever it is tightening between us. For a moment his breath falters. Something raw flickers in his expression. Then he shuts it down. Completely. No. The word hits like a slap. My stomach flips. Why not? Afraid? Of hurting you. His voice is rough, almost broken. Of controlling you. Of turning something already complicated into a cage. I laugh, harsh, breathless. You're already controlling me. He shakes his head. Not like that. I won't create a dependency. You deserve to choose who you are without my instincts twisting your mind. Choose? My throat tightens painfully. You think I have any choices left after what you told me? After what happened to my pack? His eyes soften. I'm giving you the choice I never had. Something inside me snaps. I shove him back onto the pillow, not violently, just enough to force him to look at me. Tears sting my eyes, hot and unwelcome. I hate crying. Hate being seen. Hate that he's seeing it now. You don't get to make decisions for me, I whisper, voice cracking. Not about this. Not about me. He lifts a hand, hesitating as if touching me might shatter something, and cups the side of my jaw. Gently. Too gently for a man like him. I'm not rejecting you, he says softly. I'm protecting you. Even from myself. My breath catches. Because this is worse than a claim, worse than a fight, worse than anything. It's care. Real, terrifying, disarming care. I crumble. Not physically, but emotionally, folding forward until my forehead touches the edge of his shoulder. A sound escapes me, small and helpless. Victor doesn't move, but after a moment, his fingers slide into my hair. Steady, warm, anchoring. For the first time in my life, I let myself be held. And don't feel weak for it. The first sign that something is wrong is the silence. The shifter crimes unit is never quiet. Not even at night. There's always a hum of movement, the shuffle of paperwork, the clack of bootsteps, the low chatter of officers who pretend they don't gossip. But tonight? Nothing. The air feels too still. Too heavy. Like the building is holding its breath. I'm helping Victor walk. He insisted he didn't need help, which is adorable considering. He nearly passed out an hour ago, when every light in the hallway flickers once, twice, then plunges the entire unit into darkness. A low rumbling growl rolls through the vents. Not human. Not Victor. Something else. Something coming. Victor tenses beside me, instincts snapping awake. Even injured, even pale, even stitched across the ribs. He's all coiled danger. Silas, he says quietly. Stay behind me. Not a chance. Before he can argue, glass shatters somewhere deeper in the building. A warning alarm screams to life, flooding the hall in violent red. Then they're there. Shadows, slipping through the broken windows like ink spilling into the room. The same wolves who tried to take me. Only now they're more. Reinforcements. Bigger, bloodthirsty. Glowing with fanatic zeal. The heir. One snarls. Take him. Kill the alpha. Victor steps in front of me, but something in me snaps. Not fear. Not instinct. Recognition. A hot surge of power slams through my chest, tearing down my spine. My skin burns. My bones creak. My vision blurs, sharpening and darkening all at once. I stumble to the side, choking on my own breath. Silas? Victor grabs my arm. Silas, look at me. Too late. The world breaks. My skin ripples. My back arches. A roar rips free from my throat, deep, ancient, otherworldly. My fingernails split into claws, my teeth lengthen, and my bones crack, reforming. Pain floods every nerve. And then, I'm not standing on two legs anymore. I hit the floor on four paws. A black wolf, massive sleek shadows clinging to my fur like ink, and burned into my chest, glowing faint silver. The sigil. The wolves freeze. He's awakened. The heir's true form. I don't wait. I lunge. The world becomes sound and movement and fury. My body moves like it remembers this shape, like it was born for it. I tear into the first wolf, sending him skidding across the tile. Another leaps, I duck under, slam them into a pillar, teeth finding flesh. But I'm not alone. A howl slices through the hallway. Victor! I turn just in time to see his body shift, white light flashing across his form, limbs twisting, fur exploding over skin. He lands beside me, a massive gray wolf with eyes the same cold silver as his human gaze. We move together, like breath, like memory, like two pieces of the same ruined story crashing back into place. He leaps high while I strike low. I knock enemies into his jaws. He shields my flank from claws I don't see. Our steps are mirrors. Our instincts sync. Our rhythm is perfect. It feels like we've done this before, a lifetime ago. Then the leader emerges. Bigger than the rest. Scarred. Foam on his fangs. The heir belongs to us. He roars. Not happening. He charges me first. I dodge, but he's fast. Too fast. His claws rake across my side, tearing fur and skin. I stumble, vision flashing white. He lunges for my throat. But Victor is there, slamming into him, taking the full force of the hit meant for me. The leader's claws gouge deep into Victor's flank. Blood sprays. I snap. Fury detonates inside me, white-hot, primal, unstoppable. The sigil on my chest ignites. Light bursts outward, blinding and sharp. The leader staggers, howling in confusion. I pounce. This time, I don't hold back. My jaws clamp around his throat. Power surges down my spine, through my limbs, into my teeth. The leader convulses once, and collapses. Dead. Silence slams into the world. The remaining wolves flee, tripping over each other to escape the nightmare they awakened. The red emergency lights flicker again, fading as backup systems stabilize. I turn immediately to Victor. He's in wolf form still, breathing raggedly, fur soaked with blood on his flank. But he lifts his head when I crouch beside him, our noses almost touching. He nudges me, weak but deliberate. Alive. Relief crashes through me so hard I nearly collapse. My body shifts without permission, fur retracting, bones breaking and realigning, and I'm human. Again, kneeling on the cold tile floor, hands shaking as I touch his blood-matted fur. Victor, I whisper, voice breaking. Don't you dare leave me. His wolf form presses his head into my chest. And for the first time, I don't fight the bond tightening between us. I accept it. Morning hits the city in soft gold, too gentle, too normal for a night filled with blood and shadows. The street outside the Shifter Crimes Unit is blocked off with caution tape, scattered debris, and exhausted officers doing their best impressions of zombies with badges. I sit on the steps, wrapped in a borrowed hoodie, hair a mess, bruises blooming on my arms like abstract art. The air is sharp with the smell of rain, concrete and faintly, wolves. Victor stands a few feet away, talking to a cluster of high-ranking suits who look like they taste lemons for breakfast. They glance at me more than once. Not kindly. Finally, the deputy commissioner steps forward, clears his throat, and reads from a tablet. Silas Cade, due to your demonstrated abilities, lack of pheromonal dependency, and unique resistance to alpha dominance, you are hereby classified as an independent Omega. Gasps ripple through the officers. Independent. The word hangs in the air like a miracle and a threat at the same time. It's something almost mythical. A legal status for omegas with such unusual biology that no alpha claim, pack bond or instinct override applies. There are maybe 3 in the entire country. Your movements will no longer be restricted, the commissioner adds stiffly. You are free to go. Free. The word tastes strange on my tongue. Victor approaches once the suits disperse. There's a thin line of bandages under his shirt, but he walks steady, controlled. Too controlled. You heard them, he says. You don't have to stay under the unit's watch. Your life is yours again. I look up at him. Really look. You got in trouble for last night, I say quietly. A formal reprimand. He shrugs. They said I acted with emotional bias. I snort. You? Emotional? His eyes soften. Just barely. Apparently, with you, I am capable of it. Something twists in my chest. Not unpleasant. Terrifying. We stand there, in the growing daylight, neither of us moving. I break the silence first. You didn't mark me. Victor's gaze sharpens. No. Because you can't. Because you chose me, he says softly, before I ever had a chance to consider it. My breath stumbles. A warmth spreads slowly across my ribs. Not instinctual. Not a claim. Just real. So now what? I ask, trying for casual and failing miserably. You gonna kick me out of your life? Let me roam the streets as a majestic independent menace? He steps closer, close enough that the morning breeze carries his scent, clean, cool, unbearably steady. I was hoping, he says, you'd stay. That sounds like a terrible idea. It does. We both almost smile. Your apartment is huge, I say. Cold. Sterile. Absolutely depressing. I know. And you think letting me live there will fix that? I think, he says, voice low, you'd fill it. My heart does a stupid flip. I make no promises about behaving. I don't want you to behave. There's no kiss. No dramatic embrace. Just the way he looks at me. Steady, unguarded. A promise tucked between breaths. And somehow, that's more than enough. The city glows below me. 100,000 lights painting the night in gold and silver. Wind rushes through my fur as I sit on the rooftop ledge, tail curled around my paws, ears flicking at the distant hum of traffic. Being a wolf feels natural now. Right. Like slipping into a skin I should have always worn. Footsteps echo behind me. Victor appears, coat rustling, 2 cups of coffee in his hands. He sets one beside me and sits down. Not touching, just near. You ran off, he says lightly. You found me, I reply. Voice rumbling in my wolf chest. He smiles faintly. I always will. The wind tugs at us. The city hums. Our breaths sink without trying. No marks. No chains. No obligations. Just choice. Just him. Just home. They can't mark me, I think as I lean into his shoulder. But they can find me, again and again.